Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Let me know that you can see me and hear me. And I've got a really amazing training for you guys today. And we are talking about masculine archetypes. I know I mispronounce that name sometimes, so forgive me. English isn't my first language. And we are talking about how to become the reciprocal of these types or not. Some of these types are maybe not types you would want to be a reciprocal of, and your rights as a woman. This is something that your rights as a woman part is something that's very much known and accepted and celebrated in the Eastern world, but in the Western culture, the whole rights movement has turned a little bit dark and more from a legal standpoint. So I thought I would offer you guys sort of that Eastern perspective of how rights work in the Eastern culture for women. Okay, great. Thanks, Gabs. So she said she can hear me, see me. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, Nicole. Awesome. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to give you guys sort of, we're going to begin with sort of the evolutionary types, and then we're going to go into some of like the deeper provider types. This is meant to be a paid training. I've already done a part of this training inside of the Divine Union Call in Your Provider course. And this is going to be in addition to that. So I may remove this, partially remove this off of YouTube after live streaming it. If you do want access to the full trainings, it will be available in the Divine Union Call in Your Provider course, which is linked in the description box. But let's get into it. So just right off the bat, evolutionarily speaking, there is the archetype of the male. Okay, so a male in any species is just, you know, the male, the baby boy, and that's born. And this is so funny, and I must say this, when I had talked about, I had done a video called How to Be a Grown Woman a couple of months ago. It's so funny and interesting because someone commented saying everyone is born a grown woman and they shouldn't have to go through these rites of passages that I was talking about. And I have given birth to 3 children. You guys know this. And no, they were not born grown. They were born babies. They were born newborns. And as parents, we are responsible for training them. If you pushed out a grown woman from you, hats off to you, but that is not true for most species. And we already know that human babies are considered one of the most expensive babies because they require the most energetic, physical, financial investment than most other species. We have already established that in evolutionary studies, right? So for those people that say when a male is born, it's already a man, that is incorrect. Evolution does not recognize this. Evolution says, science says that when a human baby is born, it is not fully grown. We must teach it to eat. We must eat properly. It knows how to eat, but eat properly. We must teach it to walk. We must teach it to speak. We must teach it to crawl, and then as they get older, we must teach it schooling and or hunting in the tribal days. There's rites of passages that babies must go to. So they're not born grown. So whoever is saying this, that is scientifically incorrect. You can sit there and argue, of course, that everyone is born worthy. And I would agree with you. That's, from a conscious level, everyone is born worthy, but we don't, it would be the same as saying that when a male baby is born or a female baby is born, it can be a doctor. It cannot. It must go through certain rites of passages to be classified as a professional doctor. It is the same as the category of man. And this is something that evolution supports and recognizes based on all of the tribal studies and anthropology and all of that. So when a male baby is born, a baby boy, it is just a male. And so evolutionarily speaking, we look at it as a man in training. Okay, so this in the tribal days, around the age of anywhere from 11 to 13, the male baby would be separated from the women in the tribe, or the mother. And when we say separated, keep in mind that evolutionarily speaking, we had two fires. The women would gather around with other females with their babies, and then all the men used to gather together, and talk about things and go hunting together. And so that's how it worked, okay? And so once the male baby reached anywhere from the age of 11 to 13, it would be taken from the female fire, and now it would be put into the male fire. And, in that tribe. And what this meant was that this boy was now going under certain training so that this man this male baby can be recognized as a man, not only outwardly, but internally. So the way we have evolved is when we go through certain rites of passages and we earn this man title, that's when men internally feel like they are able to call themselves a man. Like, I am a man is something that they can now start calling themselves. This is very important because in societies where they have gotten rid of such rituals of, having men take you under your wing, your father, your brothers, other men of the tribe, other alpha males, what we're having is we have a whole bunch of males running around who do not feel like a man. And because they don't feel like a man, because society hasn't given them that mirror perspective, they will try and mimic man behavior. I posted a video yesterday about the faux provider, right? So he may look at movies or TV shows or men from far away and say, okay, well, if you have a lot of resources, then, okay, that's what you got to do. But they might not realize that they're providing for themselves, or maybe they'll get like all this bunch of stuff on credit and try to mimic that evolution process of being considered a man. So the first archetype right there, the first type is male. All right, let me see what you guys are saying as we keep going on. Let's see, we have lost that or have refused what our ancestors previously did. And I will have to say that in my years of working with women here from all over I work with women from all over the world. I think 95 countries are now represented in my online training courses. What I'm finding is that women are also a part of the problem here, because I have had coached several private clients over the years that had married really alpha males, provider males, and then sabotaged the experience of them training their sons. Either it was the stepfather doing it or the biological father, by saying, oh, he's being too rough or this, or he's too harsh on them. And they don't understand that boys need that. So I've had to call out several of my clients saying, oh my God, you're actually sabotaging your son and you're going to end up raising a man child. You need to hand that child over to your husband, who you obviously trust enough to have married him and let him provide for you and your children. You need to let him handle it. And luckily, a lot of my clients understood this, especially several cases where it was a stepfather situation and the man already had very successful grown son from his previous marriage. And I'm like, hello, look at his sons. Look what he did. You need to stop treating your male son, your sons as if they were daughters. Yes, Heather, that's a good point. It's tampering. So, and to be perfectly honest with you, I had started making that mistake as well. When I married Irfan, I had some family members that this was a big container for some of my family members. It was too much of a container stretch for what I had manifested, even though this is very normal in my culture. My own family had broken that generational, we had some of those generational curses. And so I had people whispering in my ear, and sometimes I would end up listening to them. And then I realized, no, the way that Irfan's parenting my sons, I mean, they're only 17 and 11, but I mean, pit them against any 40-year-old average man in the United States, and their behavior will be a lot more masculine because they're being trained that way. Okay, so this is very important. All right, so the next type is actually a subtype of the male. So as we said, males who do not get the proper initiation into manhood, this is based on science, evolution science and evolution psychology, they still want the things that the men have, right? Like they want to have a woman, they want to send their genes into the next generation. They want to have a house, they want to have nice cars, like they still want a full life. So what they will have to do now is, and women have absolutely helped with this with the whole feminist movement, which obviously was necessary, but it's taken out of control and context. What they will do is they will try to find a woman who can do 50-50 for them. So they internally, psychologically feel like half the man, right? They haven't earned the man title. And so what they can do now is if they can find a woman that's also half the other half of the man, and they can join forces, then they can mimic a family unit that represents what is most native to us. The problem with the 50-50 typically, I mean, a lot of people can do it. You can have pretty decent life if you are a woman and you marry a 50-50 guy, as long as you are okay with working for the rest of your life and bringing in half of the thing, whatever the things, it can work. I have seen it work with people. The only way it doesn't work is if you are in touch with your needs and your real desires, and now there's going to be this internal feeling of something's off. Typically, when I have coached people in this situation, in the 50-50 situation, what's happening is the woman is feeling like something's off and the guy has completely checked out. Like he is bringing in the 50, but he's not helping her parent. He's spending a lot of time online or, video games, or just like he's there, but he's like not there, like he's like checked out. And because you have to understand that he still hasn't gone through that masculine training and feeling like a man. And he knows that he's somehow hacked the system. And so something internally starts feeling like something's off, something's missing. And that's typically when they will seek out either therapy or coaching or things like that. So that is the 50-50. Now I'm gonna take a little detour. So we've talked about number one was males. Okay, so anyone under the age of a certain age would be male, right? Like my sons would be considered just males, and there's nothing wrong with being a male. It's just a man in training. Two would be the 50-50 guy. This is a guy that passed his expiration date of the training and no one trained him. It wasn't available. And so now he has to just mimic the man behavior and hope for the best. The third category is going to be the category that my husband and I have lovingly termed, we borrowed this from the Netflix series, but it's called Dirty John, okay? So I have talked about this before, that inside every provider, there is a predator. So the dark masculine, the predator energy, is an essential energy in the man. It is absolutely essential. All men should have this. If your man doesn't have any predator energy, you probably don't trust him. And the reason you don't trust him is because you don't trust that if a mouse came into your house or an intruder, that he would be able to protect you. So the predator energy is the energy that gives a man the ability to go hunting. It gives the man the ability to take a bullet for you. It gives the man the ability to tackle down a man that's trying to attack you. Okay, so this is very essential. Now think of the continuum. So there is this continuum, and for healthy men, they're gonna be on the predator vibe somewhere here, meaning they want to protect women, children, they want to protect innocence, and they are willing to kill to protect this innocence. So for example, a healthy man who is a police officer, if he sees a threat against a child or a woman, his predator will come on and he will be able to take care of that threat. So he's got the healthy predator in him. Now, as it just so happens that as part of my schooling, I actually extensively studied serial killers. Don't ask. Part of my training. And so on this continuum, serial killers fall right here. Okay, so this guy is someone who only has the predator turned on. This is a highly disturbed being. They have no shame. They have no remorse. Okay, all they have is the ability to, and they don't even see that as anything wrong. Okay, that's on this continuum. Okay. Now the dirty Johns aren't so bad as the serial killers, but they fall somewhere in the middle over here. So the dirty Johns are basically it's a mutation. It is a male who not only didn't receive the training to become a man, he has more of that predatory energy. And this guy this might be a serial rapist. This might be someone who cons women. This might be a kidnapper. I mean, these, if you guys have seen the Dirty John series on Netflix, that's the types we're talking about. These are not men that need to do their inner work. Someone was trying to say in the live stream the other day that, what if you're married to a Dirty John? Do they need inner work? No, you need to run. You need to run. Because on that spectrum, these guys are pretty predatory. Okay, these guys are guys that, they're willing to do whatever they need to for their own benefit. They will steal from you. They will rob you. These are not men that you're going to wait on to do their inner work. Mina's description of 50-50 was exactly my life. Felt furious daily, felt something was off, so I left. Yeah, and it's like this slow death, isn't it? Because society tells you, well, you should be happy. You've got a husband, he pays 50% of the bills, right? Like you feel like I should be happy, but I'm not. Something's missing. Okay. So let me see. All right. Yeah, someone said they studied serial killers too. That's why it's so interesting, like the way that my life and my studies and things have panned out, it's almost odd. Like I remember my mom thought it was really weird that I had to write this 40-page thesis style thing on serial killers. And now I realize that how much this benefits me when I'm coaching people or creating programs, because the predator energy is such an essential energy in the healthy male, but not when it's like dialed up to that level. And so it's so interesting how my work has panned around these seemingly unrelated things that I studied, but it all creates this beautiful whole picture. Okay, so the third type was the dirty John. Now let's talk about, we're getting into the healthy males now. Let me know who's excited about the healthy provider types. Okay. Let me know in the chat who is very excited. Okay, so let's do it. The provider types. All right, so number one, okay, so now we're talking into, these are the men that had the father figure, that had the tribal, the initiation into manhood. They know what they're supposed to be doing. They're healthy males. But we've got certain flavors in these healthy men, just like, we've got the flavors of the feminine. We've got the flavors. Yay, all of you guys are saying yes. I've seen them in your Divine Union course. Yes, beautiful. And this training will actually be taken down from here, and I will add it also in the Divine Union course. But I wanted to give you guys a little bit of a glimpse of what's in that course. Okay. So would a male be considered neutral or negative? Neutral. My children, my male sons are not negative. They're just in training. Okay. Now, if they were 40, and they were still males, something's gone array, right? Like they never got their training. Luckily, they are getting their training, so that's not going to happen to my sons, but just saying, okay? In my culture, they are considered neutral. And from a purely scientific, observation of these males, they would just be considered neutral. Okay, because that would be a species that generally would die out, right? Think about it that way. Women used to only mate with healthy men. Okay, so now that we are not doing that, they're getting to reproduce. So now this is a big problem. This is why women need to be held accountable for this, because women have always been the gatekeepers of what genes go into the future. So women who sit around blaming these males, I'm sorry, you need to take a look in the mirror. It's your fault. you need to acknowledge that. Okay, that's why I take full responsibility for my stuff, and I heal through it and I work through it, because we're not supposed to be reproducing with them. That's just how it is in every species. All right, so healthy male provider types. So the number one type I will put is in the blue collar type. Okay, so the blue collar type is the type that someone said, what about cheaters? That would be the dirty Johns. So if he's a cheater, you're with a dirty John. Okay, so dirty John is any guy that's taking the predator energy and he's working that against you. Okay, so you're with a dirty John. You need to leave. So number one provider, healthy provider type, number one category I would put is the average blue collar guy. So this is the average blue collar guy that's got the job, he's got the regular job, he's got some kind of skill trade, and this guy is going to be a full-on provider, meaning he's going to pay all the bills. Okay. Typically these guys have some kind of a physical trade job, and